Welcome back. Breaking news coming in after UAE, a big honor coming in for the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Russia. Today, the Indian Prime Minister has been decorated with Order of St. Andrew the Apostle, highest state decoration of Russia, for his exceptional services in promoting special and privileged strategic partnership between Russia and India. This has now been announced by the Russian embassy just a short while ago. Remember, in the last few weeks itself, this is the second highest civilian honor coming in for the Indian Prime Minister. First was UAE at the start of April and now Russia as well. Our executive editor Abhishek is joining us on the phone line for more.
Shivani, this is the latest in the line of highest civil awards that have been bestowed on Prime Minister Modi by various nations. Russia joins the club. Before that, there was the UAE. Before that, there was South Korea. Before that, there was Saudi Arabia, and the list goes on. So essentially, what we are seeing is Prime Minister's diplomacy, which was many times domestically panned for the number of foreign visits the Prime Minister was taking, actually is paying off, because these kind of awards are a recognition of the role a particular leader has played in not just the bilateral relationship, Shivani, but also in furthering the common objectives of the two nations, for example, in this case between India and Russia. So what it shows is that Prime Minister Modi can engage with nations as diversely placed in terms of their worldview as Saudi Arabia on the one side and Russia on the other, or the UAE on the one side and South Korea on the other. So essentially, another recognition coming Prime Minister's way underscores the success of his of the energy he put in diplomacy. As I said, though panned domestically for his number of foreign visits, what this has done is increase the profile of India, and this award is another recognition of that.
Absolutely. A lot of controversy has been built up by especially the prime opposition party, Congress. Abhishek, as you know, over his foreign visits, also diplomacy, which was a jibe that came in from the Congress party. But it seems as far as countries' interests are concerned and the recognition on the global platform, the diplomacy is working. Also a personal connect of sorts that the Prime Minister has often been credited with many world leaders, President Putin in this case.
Well, absolutely. There are a lot of things, Shivani, which I would know, for example, but they cannot be said. But what I can tell you is that there was an immediate connect that was established between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin, and it has been reflected in the manner the two nations have come about, despite of late India's growing closeness or defense relationship with the United States. Russia could have felt a little slighted, but that has not happened. This is essentially because the manner in which Prime Minister has really invested in the relationship and kept it on an even keel. So this is essentially a recognition of that effort that has gone into keeping this relationship, even as India has made attempts to grow its otherwise diverse relationship with the United States into the strategic domain as well. So, for example, the recent deal that was done for buying S-400 air defense system, and the joint collaboration that is there between India and Russia for manufacturing of AK-203 rifles. Incidentally, I happen to be in Amethi, and that's where these rifles would be manufactured. And the overall historical aspect of the relationship perhaps reaches a new level with this recognition that has come from Prime Minister Putin. So you see, this personalized style of diplomacy of Prime Minister, which was panned by the opposition, is actually paying dividends. Be it his equation with President Putin, be it his equation with Prime Minister Netanyahu, be it his very personal equation with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan. So what we are seeing is that, in a way, India's involvement or engagement with the rest of the world is seeing next level. Because this does not happen often.
Yes.
That a leader
In terms of Russia,
came up,
Abhishek, I just wanted to point out as well, a lot was also made about Putin's invitation to Prime Minister Narendra Modi for a big business event in Russia, and that happens to be in September 2019. You know, that is post general elections that we are currently witnessing. That also said a lot about perhaps his faith in Narendra Modi.
well, yes, it seems that the Prime Minister has the shall I say, the understanding of his politics globally has reached a level where people actually believe that he will come back for a second term, and not just in the case of President Putin, but we have seen in the case of Prime Minister Netanyahu, he was to make a return visit, but we are told that he postponed it in the belief that if Prime Minister Modi is coming back, he would rather see him in the second term. But you know what is more important is, as perhaps Prime Minister Modi himself would say, this is more a recognition of India's growing stature in the Committee of Nations.
All right, Abhishek, appreciate you joining us. Definitely a recognition also of India's growing influence as far as geopolitics is concerned, because the recognitions are coming in from diverse countries which may or may not share the same view on India's relationship with other global powers. But a big honor coming in from Russia, the highest state honor for Prime Minister Narendra Modi.